Okay, so we are recording now. All right. Okay, so I'll pass by quickly. Hey, I'm just don't want to dwell too much on this. I just want to get started, but I think it's important that we first do the introductions and stuff. Okay, myself, yeah, just to introduce myself. I'm Patrick. I'm in technical operations. I'm PhD in operations management, MBA, pharmacist, quality regulatory, etc., etc. I've worked in healthcare, FMCG. I've worked for various organizations. Some people on this call have worked in organizations that I've worked at. My thesis, I think this is the part that I would like to share a bit on. It was to investigate how the integrated management system could be aligned with the organization's strategy to enhance the organizational sustainability and strategic decision-making capability to the business. So really what this means is that you may have an ISO, you may have a couple of standards. If these standards are not aligned to the organization strategy, you're wasting your time because it is in conflict with the strategy. In order for it to be packaged, for it to add value to the organization, it has to align with the organization's overarching strategy. Okay, so this was my thesis, and I used mixed methods and etc. etc. To create a framework which I could use for the integration if I get called to an organization to assist with the implementation. I'm able to use my framework as well as some risk assessment, readiness assessment, etc., for me to be able to provide a value add in my recommendation. So that is me. I've been in the industry for quite a while, so I don't know everything, but I can share my experiences. I can work with you to try and understand certain things, okay? So I'm not an academic working in the university full time. I work in the university, like now, I also work full time in industry, okay? So now quickly on our course outline, before I go to the course document. So today, the 10th, it's the introduction and orientation week. And we're going to go to the course outline to go through the document and what is important there, what is not important. You can ask questions for clarity on certain things, and then you can see that the dates that are important, very important. The first assessment is due on the 14th of March. So usually I give you a week, so I would issue an assignment a week and then submit at the end of that first week. And then the second one, it will be due on the 11th of April. And then the third one, which is usually the last one, is 2nd May. And then for those that could not make it or could not attend those assessments, etc., they get to the last option on the assessment 4 is June, and then the last option is the 13th of June. So they 4 in total. Will go through the percentage allocation, for each of these. Okay, I'm going to now move out of this and just quickly go to your outline and quickly touch on important aspects of it with you. Okay, Elroy, please ask question.
Hi, good evening, sir.
Evening.
With regards to the assessments, so we submit the assessments online? Is there any exams or not? Hi, can you hear me?
I can hear you clearly. There are
O-
no
Okay.
exams, but I can
So,
always confirm this with Dr. Madonsela. No exam. So
okay. So,
usually, if you write these assignments,
and then you
uh,
submit them.
that's correct. So you'd submit them online on Moodle. So we have to, just to make sure that it's clear where you're going to submit and how you're going to submit. And with the submission, I usually get to keep a list of who hasn't submitted, so that we start deducting post the submission time. Yeah, no exams, but I'll just confirm that.
Okay, no, so that is perfectly clear because the students of last year also told me it's more like research. You do your assignments and then you submit them on the Moodle portal. Yeah.
Yeah, my students, they didn't write exam. I know a few years back, this class they had to do a group assignment, a group presentation. I must just double check on that. I think there's also a lot of flexibility on how I manage the assessment, but I'll be very quick to make a decision on what I will want and what I will not want. I'm very tempted on the presentation or one group assignment, but I'll confirm that with you at a later stage. But definitely no exam. Any other question before I move on? Okay, so now I'll go to quickly to the document that you should have received, and you should have gone through it, and you should be now be in a position to ask me questions. Okay, so this is the 2025 module, and this runs for 6 months. It ends in June. Okay, this course, this particular module, and then it covers all aspects of the importance or the significance of this module, the integrated management system, and what students should be expected to master for them to be fully conversant of this topic. Okay, um, so you need to read it, and then you need to ask me questions. Okay, I'm not going to do all of this for you. And then just the importance of the 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 department itself. Okay, we 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 meet at this time. It's usually not that long. I usually finish around 8 or just after 8. At the latest has been 8:30. Um, and then, of course, this is now on Moodle. Used to be on Blackboard, and I'm supporting Dr. Nelson Madonsela. Okay, I know he's going to be going on a research study overseas, and I usually help him in the second semester. This time around, I happen to be helping him sooner, and he's available there. I'm going to give you just on. Um, I'm not going to do it yet. I'm just going to double check my university email address and then send it to you. I don't want to use. I can use my. No, I'm not going to use my private one at this stage. Okay, so I'll give you my contact details so that it's easy for you to follow and ask me and interact with me. Please, Elroy, again.
Lastly, sir, so all communications that you send out to us via email, will that be to our personal email address or to our UJ email address?
It's a UJ email address.
So you will communicate to our UJ email address, correct?
That's correct. Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. And also, please, when we communicate, if you could please copy Dr. Madonsela. It helps. You'll see that in the long run, when there are issues which I haven't experienced before, it helps just to always have that backup. This is what we spoke about, especially on sensitive matters. But I've never experienced that before. Okay. And then in terms of the admin stuff, okay, I don't know if you've interacted with Vatiswa. Okay, if you need to interact with her, there she is. And the person who's really runs the department is Calais. She looks after Dr. Madonsela. So if you want to get your query to him sooner, you use her. Okay, Calais. And then the program coordinator is Prof. Nita. Okay, and her details are here. Okay, please try and follow protocol. If you can't get help from me, you can escalate Dr. Madonsela, and then from there he will escalate to whoever. But it's never ever reached. There's never ever been a need for that to happen. Okay, in terms of the lecture, we meet like this, we interact like this, and some people, they do ask me, call me, and make arrangements for maybe the weekends to talk when they need clarity on certain things. Okay, I work during the week, so I'm not available up until um, after 5, say about 6. So if anyone needs to talk to me about a work, school related matter, please do that after hours, or else we can have a session on Saturdays, preferably Saturday morning. Okay. And if you want to book that consultation or appointment, do it via Miss Calais. Okay. And of course, you're expected to attend all the lectures. Because everything is recorded, we can pick up who is attending, who's not attending. You expect to attend at least 80% of the lectures. Okay. All right. And of course, just double check your registrations. Just make sure you've got the correct, name, etc., so that when it's time for you to be graduated, etc., you don't have to go back and say that no, but I submitted incorrect ID number, etc. Please do double check that. I also keep a student register. Okay, so with that student register, it will help just for you to confirm your details. And also, I do not know if there is a class rep yet. We usually work through a class rep. They usually set up the WhatsApp group and stuff like that, because it is important that we have, instead of having everyone asking questions and maybe bringing displeasures, it's better when there is 1 or 2 people, and it has worked very well in the past. And they've been very supportive, to me when I want this information or to send, to alert students to an information that I had uploaded on Moodle, so that everyone knows that there is a new, information for you to refer to. Yeah, so it is important. I'll just double check with Doc also if this has happened. I think it's usually the same class rep for the other modules as well. In this class, you don't have a class rep yet.
No, we don't.
You don't have, okay. Yeah, I think I might just find out how we are going to approach that. But usually you guys, you decide. I think now you know who's who. You can figure out how you're going to interact and put together some WhatsApp groups or whatever connection, so that you are able to connect with each other. And also with this course, we have people that come from various parts of the country. So a face-to-face is usually very challenging. I get a lot of people from the Western Cape and people from outside Gauteng, and the online platforms are usually the most effective and the most preferred. Okay. And then this part you must read very carefully on plagiarism. Usually when you submit, we are able to pick up, the program can run an assessment to tell you how much one has plagiarized. And we've had a couple of people. I know also in my class a few people that got 0 for assignments because of this, stupid thing, because you guys are all clever. I know that. And my expectation is that you write what you've learned and you write what you have experienced. With the postgrad studies, it is mostly, practical stuff. So you're sharing what you've experienced. It's only a few of you that are students fully and not working in organizations and not being exposed to work. And for you, I understand. I can even see when I mark your assignments that it's all theoretical. But people that are working, I'm asking you to please use your practical experience, exposure when you explain things. It makes a lot of difference and it carries a lot of weight. In the past, I used to focus on that until I realized that there were students that have never been exposed to a working environment and I had to be lenient for them. Otherwise, in the past, my marking and focus was on practical examples. So for me, your assignments, anything that you submit to me, if there is some kind of practice where when you talk about a standard or a certification, or you are able to try and talk to what is happening in your own organization. And in most of my assignments, I try to ask you to tell me what happens in your organization, and that helps, just to ensure that we try to attach what we're learning here with what we do in practice. Okay, if you're not clear on plagiarism, please, we can arrange for you to be taught, for you to understand. It's very painful. You lose your entire semester's work just because some people, they just miss it. They don't understand how to reference. So if you need support with that kind of thing, please let us know. I'm going to pause here and take questions. Yes, Matapo.
So what percentage of similarities is allowed? Is it less than 20%, less than 10%?
I think it's 25. I'll just confirm that.
All right.
Okay. Thanks so much. That's a very good question. I actually thought it would be in this information book. Okay. In fact, what I should do is while we talk, I just quickly drop Doc a message, a WhatsApp. Okay. Any questions, please?
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, sir.
Just a quick one. I'm not pretty sure about this, but someone told me that if you're doing, I think, postgrad, you have access to turn it in throughout the year. I'm not pretty sure if it's the same case on this module or this qualification, like
Yes,
for academic courses.
Yes, you do. That's where we get the plagiarism level. So you do.
Okay, so in a manner that are we able to check our work before we submit to you, or it can only be visible?
No, you can check.
After
You can check.
Okay.
So sometimes you'll find
Thanks.
that the cover page, is the one that contributes, in elevating your level, and then you get advised to remove that cover page and submit without it, as long as we have your name and your student number and the critical details.
Okay,
Okay,
thank you.
carry on, team. I'm just quickly dropping Doc a message. Any other questions? Yes, please, Elroy.
Grace, so when we do the submissions, must we submit in PDF or in Word?
Preferably PDF. I've seen people submitting in Word and then I have to convert it in PDF. It's quite painful. Please, PDF. Any other question? Yes, please.
Hi, sir. Hi.
Hello. Yes, please, Itumeleng.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you clearly. Itumeleng, please talk. I can hear you.
Oh, sorry. I thought somebody was speaking before me, so that's why I waited. I wanted to ask because on I think it was a presentation you were showing, it was presentation, like how, so when we do have to present, do we have to do a whole PowerPoint, and how is it going to go? Are we going to do it just here online?
No, you have to have a PowerPoint, yeah, because you'll see there will be a criteria, and one of them will be the presentation, the quality of the work. So the research, the quality of the work, the understanding of the topic. So that will get to that when it's time. So I'll clarify that, but it's going to be a presentation. Usually I would invite a few other qualified people to assist me with assessing, the the rating. Of course, I would guide them into what is it that we are looking for. Okay, but don't worry about it at this stage. When the time is right, I'll take you through it so that you're better prepared. Okay, the plagiarism is at 12%. It's quite low, eh? So you've heard that it's 12%, but I'll make sure that this is formalized so that we can reference a document to that effect. Okay. Any other questions? I'm going to move on. Right, let's move on. All right, of course, there's a whole thing about grievances, maternity, etc. You can read through those. And you can see that this module is made up of these four, okay? The advanced project management. I don't know if you've started the others yet, of course. And then the IMS, which is me, the quality projects, and the SQM, this is used to be me. I enjoyed it thoroughly. And of course, ethics. Okay, so this is how this is split up. And then the whole thing you must just read. So the rest of the document, it talks about what is expected, etc. So read through it, please, and it will tell you the outcomes. But I do when I start to when I start the chapter or the lecture to say what I expect. But we can quickly go through this before I think I'll end on assessments. Okay, so I think it's important that we take you through this. I do not know when you applied for this course, if you had gone through something like this, what this module, what are the outcomes of the entire course. So it is the application of quality management practices and their role in organizations with tools, with techniques, models, and framework. Okay, so with my team, my students in the strategy quality management, I was saying that I was preparing them to be able to interact. So I was preparing a C-suite, a director level quality practitioners. I wanted people who will be able to talk at board level, to talk about quality and to influence and contribute to the overarching strategy of the business, and not be people who get told how to run quality, but to people that go and say, with quality, this is what we can contribute to the vision and the goals and the strategy of the organization. That was my strategic quality management, which I enjoyed a lot. Okay, so when you do that, please remember me. That's a very solid module, that one, and of course with all the others as well. So the other learning outcomes here is make a significant contribution to the organization's strategic vision for success. I mentioned that. I mean, when you're talking IMS and you're talking about doing away with redundancy, etc., etc., you're talking to cost saving, you're talking to business operation excellence. You're talking to streamlined processes and shortened and more accountability. Yeah. So we implement strategy quality management practices in an organization, formulation of the quality systems, etc. So this really, in short, it is not, it's a postgraduate. I think it's very important that I emphasize that. So I'm not expecting you to define topics, to define issues. I'm expecting you to be talking about things in practice, to be strategic in your thinking, in the way you put up your debates, your arguments when you write assignments or when we have such discussions. I'm going to stop quickly here just to see that are we aligned, or people are just doing this course to earn another certificate. Team, is this course outline, is it something that you refer to, something that triggered your interest in this course? Was the interest in this course for you to get another qualification, or was it really to add value to the organization that you work for? Who's, yes, please, again, Elroy.
So basically this course is basically to add value to what I'm currently doing in my organization, yeah, and to improve the processes that we're currently doing.
And which kind of industry are you in?
Engineering, steel manufacturing and fabrication.
Okay, that's quite interesting. That's quite interesting. Thanks. Butle, which organization, industry are you working for? Butle?
Hi, sir. I am working for a glass manufacturing company.
All right. Thanks. So it's in production, in operation. Same as Elroy. Thanks. And Sisoko? Dimpo? Yes, ma'am.
Hi, sir.
Yes.
Yes.
You raise your hand, Dimpo.
Oh, no. It was a
Okay.
mistake.
And which organization do you work for? You work or you study?
I work.
Okay. And the organization, the industry?
It's a tire manufacturing industry.
All right. Okay. It's also manufacturing. It's quite similar to the other two. Thank you. Any students here? Those that are at university now, they are not working, have not been exposed to industry? No students? Yes, Gosana? Oh,
Good
sure.
evening, sir.
Okay, so you are a student.
I am, sir. I was doing my advanced
And what did
diploma
you do?
I was
All
doing my
right,
advanced
okay.
diploma in quality and a diploma in management services, and I work as a tutor on campus in the
Oh, is it?
university.
Okay, no, it's
Yeah.
fine. I think when the time is right, I'll see if I can maybe arrange for you to have some kind of exposure, so that would be a visit to a factory, a visit to where there's some kind of, or service. I mean, it could be a service industry, like a bank, or it could be, I can help with the operations, I can show you the factory and show you how people do things, so that it makes some kind of sense when we talk about some of these things. Yes, Sunny?
I'm from a different industry. I'm under
Yes.
forensic
Sorry,
sciences.
for forensic?
Yes, forensic science laboratory.
All right, so this would be similar to the police labs. Yeah, no, we had someone here who was in that kind of environment. Yeah, there's quality, there's all these processes. They're still very applicable, but it also help with the diversity that we all doing different things. All right, thanks so much. And so the student guys, when the time is right, and of course with the blessings from Doctor and the university, we can arrange some kind of exposure. All right, just quickly on the assessments. Okay, I think the assessments, it's a 10, 15, 30, and 45. So the 10 is the introductory, and then you see the 15. That's when we're starting now so the 15. That's when we're starting now to ask more practical and more demanding, kind of questions. 30 and 45, that's where there's advancement, and the expectation is a matured kind of debate in your response. And of course you get penalized for not submitting on time. I think right now I urge you to quickly to read through this, and if you've got further questions, let me know when we meet next week. Just on prescribed textbooks. Okay, it's actually the first one. My previous one, it was without a textbook, so it was a lot of journal articles, a lot of research by myself. This one has got a prescribed textbook, but I'm going to add here one more, if not two. And you'll see this one is it's a 2015, and it's a IMS of quality, okay, environmental, occupational health, and food safety, aerospace service, electronics, automotive, and food. And that's food safety management. What's FMS? FSMS. That would FS 22000. That would be, that's food safety standard, management systems, management standard. Yeah, that's food safety. And I don't know why this says food, but anyway, so it covers these. I don't want to close out the other standards, the other management systems. You'll see that we'll be talking a lot about a management system. We'll be talking a lot about a management system standard. Okay, I'm sure you know the difference. The other one is not a standard. Okay, a standard has to be ISO. It could be a food safety. However, a management system, it could be any organization that's got some kind of management, system. So I'm sure the auditors, they've been to organizations where there's no standard. However, there is some kind of management system in place. They could be working towards that standard. So they could be starting to adopt that particular standard, but not having been certified to say that we are an ISO certified organization under such standards. Okay, is it clear? I think it is clear. Okay, I'm going to just give it a start, because it's very important that we do something today. Okay, please read this. It's got the university calendar, etc., etc. Okay, I'm going to just give you 2 minutes to ask questions. Yes, Elroy. I think Elroy is flying for the participation mark
Yeah,
in this class. Yeah, yes.
That
Yes,
learner guide that you just presented to us, can you make that available on
Oh.
Moodle, please?
Is it not available?
It's not available.
I took it for granted that it has been. Okay, I'll just make sure that I upload the information guide. I thought this is something that you would get before you even start.
Yeah, because I also looked at that thing and there was nothing.
Okay, no, maybe it was for me to do. Okay, I apologize. I'll do that straight after this lecture. Okay, so let me quickly get on with it. Yes, please, Sunny.
Will this recording be available? Because I missed most of the part. I just logged in now. That's when I could start hearing properly.
Oh, is it? Yeah. No, you'll get it. You will get it. Yeah. And I mentioned to the class that if there's anything that you need, ask Miss Calais. Okay, she's here on your student guide. She'll be able to help you because I'm not always available. I work full time in corporate, and I just do this part time. So, but I'm fully responsible and accountable for this topic. Okay, so if you can't get her, you may get to me. I'm reluctant to give you my. I think I can, because yeah, especially now in the beginning, I think it's fair. It's only fair. I'll give you my. Okay, when I upload, I'll give you my contact details so that you don't have to struggle to make sure that you are clear on what you need for this for this class. Okay. Any other questions? Roy's hand is still up. Is this the old hand?
Yeah, now it's still as a new answer.
Okay. Yes, sir.
So, as per the lady said, ask now if you're gonna make this recordings available. If so, can you please make it available, but also downloadable? No,
Yeah.
for just for interest, if the other guys doesn't have a proper internet connection, they can at least download it and then watch it at the later stage again.
Okay. Downloadable. Okay. No, it's fine. I'll do that. Yes, Vilankulu.
Hi, sir. So
Yes, ma'am.
just to take you back, I'm struggling to understand this concept of an organization following guidelines of a certain standard, but not actually certified for
Yeah.
that standard. What does it mean for my product? Is it safe? Let's say I wanna take my water for testing in a certain microbiological lab, right? So they say to me that they don't have a standard currently, but they are following a guidelines for the water testing. What does it mean? Like, is it that even allowed?
Yeah, but you remember, you are the one who's dictating, so it depends if they are your contractor. I'm sure you do have some kind of policy that governs. Do you go to certified labs, or it's you who dictates? But I'll allow Sinyane, you had your hand up. I'll ask Rose also to please support to clarify that. Sinyane, what do you think? And thanks for that question, Ms. Vilankulu.
Hi, sir.
Yes,
Hi,
ma'am.
I'm just gonna say my 2 cents. Vilangulu, on that one, it simply just means that if the company that you send your samples to, it's not certified, it means you cannot be 100% confident with their results. I think that's what the standard 17025 says, that the company should have a certified should be certified to do whatever that they're doing. And
Thank you so much.
I aided on that.
Thanks, Mapulan. And
So
Rose,
I'm not sure
before.
if it's my laptop, but I can't hear anything.
Oh, you couldn't hear it? Can you repeat that, Sinyane, please? Mapula, can you repeat that, please? Okay, she can't hear. Rose, can you help also your views?
I think on the question of whether to accept the test results coming from a lab that is not accredited to a certain standard, I think it is later in the process that you would assess whether that happens very early in the process. So you would obviously have, I think, pretty much like how Patrick or Dr.
Nkulu,
Toyo
hi,
has
can you hear me?
explained it. In a sense that before you bought any suppliers or vendors, you would have taken them through a qualification program wherein you assess their service that they would be providing. In this instance, I think you spoke about a microbiological laboratory. So part of your assessment prior to starting testing from this lab, you would have given them your requirements. I think you would remember in the standard, it has got a clause that says, you know, the requirements of the customer, in this case is yourself, needs to be communicated to clearly in the organization. What is it that you want as the company? So in your organization, because you're requiring this service of testing, then it means you would have drawn up what is it that you need your service providers to have in place before you bought them. And that would also be included in your contracts, because I think if you recall, there is also a requirement that if you outsource any activity, that there would be contractual agreements between yourselves and the third-party laboratory we're referring to in this case. I hope I answer your question.
Yes, you do.
Thanks, Rose. Thank you. All right. Any other takers? I think that should be clear enough now. So I actually, you know, if I'm not mistaken, I once went to audit a distribution company in Namibia, and so I audited them against our technical agreement, which stated that they needed to be certified to have an ISO, or I can't remember what it was. And then when they couldn't produce, they had not had one. They said they were following their own quality management system. They had done the risk assessment, etc. And based on what they had done, they could verify the credibility of their results and the safety of the products. When we submitted and we threatened to disqualify them, the business took us to task to say that how did we enter and qualify them in the first place, and put that in the technical agreement or a service level agreement, and yet we knew from the beginning that they were not certified. So it comes back to Rose's argument that this is the startup activities, you know, as we draw up, as we qualify them and agree on utilizing their services. Okay, I hope that is clear as well. I hope I'm saying it correctly, Rose, unless I've missed what you are saying.
No, that is correct. Yeah.
Okay,
thanks.
more or less. Okay, thanks. All right, let's move on. So let me just, you can see the slides. You're getting the slides. Some of the stuff I'll just quickly jump, you know, knowing that you guys know or already, or you'll read at home. Okay, I think what's important is that the prescribed textbook is online. It's an ebook. I'm going to upload it also if you haven't got it, because it seems that, you know, you don't have all this stuff, and it was for me to have made everything ready and available for you. So please accept my apology. I'm going to upload the ebook. This is the prescribed one, okay? And then there will be a complementary or supporting one, which is this one. Okay, so this one you can also refer to it. You'll see when we cover certain aspects of the topics.
Hi, sir.
Hi, sir. Hi.
I don't think
Okay.
you're sharing the screen.
Oh, I beg your pardon. But I'm unmuted. You can hear me.
Yes, we
Yes, we can
can.
hear you.
Okay, so
Yes, we can.
this book is going to be made. It's an ebook, so we'll make it. I'll upload it for you. Okay. I don't know if any of you has been through it before, and then this one also will support that one, and then I'll make reference to a lot of journal articles. Journal articles I'll try to get fresh, relevant topics. Okay. All right, just an overview. I'd like to just quickly give a brief on the IMS, as a starter or a foundation to our discussion for the next couple of weeks. So you would have known that the 90s, early 90s, organizations started to put some kind of standards in place with the aim of elevating their competitiveness. So whoever had an ISO 9001, especially, they could trade easier. The customers or the clients believed that their products were of superior quality. Okay. And it went on to, as we move on, people started now to become concerned about the environment and the workplace safety. And these standards became more and more a way of doing business. And these were standalone standards. And these standalone standards, they just, added up and added up and added up to so many of them. And having to manage these as a one organization of these 3 or 4 or more standalone standards, it became chaotic, especially when the purpose of implementing such standards was for trade and not necessarily for internal efficiencies. It became a problem. We all know the cost of, these of certification audits. We know the maintenance of these certificates. We know the whole dilemma or burden of having to have multiple audits in one organization by external auditors. It becomes a pain. So after the organization enjoyed these advantages, competitive advantages, and also the competitors or competing organization also embarking on the same thing, it became a mess. So to manage these things, it became a cost issue. It became audits. It became duplication of many things. Okay. And worse, it meant that these different departments are starting now to compete amongst each other. So the health is competing with the quality and the environment. And now the focus to the organization in supporting what the organization is trying to achieve, it became diluted. Okay. These people are more focusing on being the best quality, the best environment, the best whatever, and less on what the business wants. Okay. So this, led to a conflict between these standards and the organizational strategy or the vision of the organization. As a result, the organizations, they didn't believe or took these standards seriously. Okay. So what this meant was that the organization had to look elsewhere to try and mitigate these challenges that were being brought about by these conflicting separate standards that cannot be managed properly, that are in conflict. So a new thing that came up was the integrated management system. And of course, this started off in the 90s as well. Late 90s, it was more lectures and discussions. The 2000s, and then it was fully fledged in the mid 2000s up until now, where the organizations are starting now to consolidate and put these separate standards or systems into one, because they wanted to cut down the cost and to have more efficiencies, and also to get these to work for the organization. However, the question would be, why then are many organizations even today still running separate management systems? And of course, I'll share with you the challenges which you know yourself that are hindering the organizations in moving faster in consolidating or integrating their management systems. I thought this would assist in paving the way or laying a foundation for our discussion as we move forward. Okay, this is part of my work, and the IMS, as described by some of you, it was 2 or more standards, 2 or more systems. Okay, this is very simple definition. It just says it's you've put these together. Yes, Elroy?
So I see on the previous slide, you referenced ISO 18000, so it changed was to ISO 45000, correct?
That's correct, yeah. That was the predecessor. Yeah, this was changed. Okay. No,
yeah, just for
ISO
interesting
has now, yeah. Carry on,
yeah, just for
please.
interesting sake, sorry, just for interesting sake, it was ISO 18000, right? 18001. So why did it move to 45001?
Because there's, let me allow another team member to answer before I answer. Thanks, it's a very good question you're asking. Anyone to answer? Gugu, what do you think? Anybody else? Wasana? Elroy, the integration of the systems, it's become inevitable. And ISO has already started, to roll out, to prepare for this integration. The 45,000, it is packaged in such a way that there's a lot of commonalities with the 14,001 and 9,001 to enable easier integration. Okay, I think they wanted to have a deliberate, new classification or new nomenclature that they used to try and differentiate between the non-compatibility of the previous standard. Any other takers? Any other takers? I'm noting it for you, Elroy.
So, can you repeat the question?
The question is why the 18,000 has changed to 45,000. So this is now the occupational health and safety. So my answer to him is that they wanted to create a distinction between a non-compatible standard with what is now being prepared by ISO as a rollout for the integration. If you put the 14,001, the 9,001, and the 45,000, you can look at the level 1, which is your manual, your policies, you move on to your procedures, your work instructions, the auditing. It's easy now to have an integrated audit. You've got easy to have an integrated procedure or process, which in the past has not been the case as readily. So what we are trying to achieve now is to create an integrated based on the commonalities across the different standards. Any comments before I move on? All right, I'll carry on. You may talk anytime if anyone has got something to add in our discussion. Okay, so we're saying that the integrated management system is a strategic business tool. It's something that the organization can use as a business tool for them to better the organization. However, there still exist difficulties. And I mentioned there's a lot of the integration challenges. Some organization, they just decide to go and do the integration. They haven't prepped or prepared their people. There hasn't been no readiness assessment to identify the gaps, for them to be filled before they could initiate the integration process. There is not enough money, or they utilize the consultants, and when the consultants are done, they leave, and the organization is left to manage these three different standards as one, and the organization often struggle to maintain those. As a result, it fails. So there's a lot of challenges or contributors to the failure of the IMS in organizations. IMS has been around, but organizations have been struggling, in particular in South Africa. And there's been good stories in China, in America and Europe, where the maturity of the management standards has shown, a better, has been more, in terms of maturity, much better than in South Africa or the less developed countries that have not utilized the management system within their businesses for longer periods of time. We are much better, of course, with compared to some of the African states, and it is because we have been operational, we've been industrialized much longer. Okay. And of course, the final one is that its value as a significant contributor to business performance has not been fully quantified. In other words, we talk about ISO, IMS being it voids, or it reduces the duplication. It adds value to the business, etc. But there hasn't been studies that could quantify and say, you by doing this is how much money the business saves. So these are the studies that really, if you decide to go into this kind of IMS research, try and work towards quantifying these savings, quantifying what these contributors to the business are, and that would be great. Okay. All right, just quickly on the key concepts. So first, as you out of this class, so you go to organization and say that you suggest an IMS. So you have to say why, what are the value that it brings. Balancing of conflict between the different parts of the business. It harmonizes and optimizes the practices, consistency, improve communication, etc. And most of these are the things that, if you've been exposed to management systems, they're quite easy for you to understand and to articulate, because really, if you look at the three different audits, if you've got one audit, then, and also you've got one common way of doing things. There's a consistency in doing it, and also leads to organizational excellence, because the money goes to an IMS. It's not money that is split, across 3 different organizations. Instead of giving them R1 million, you give them 300, 300, 300, but you give to that IMS department under one leader or leadership 1 million, and that person is able to utilize that money or to build capability to utilize it in such a way they strengthen this combined management system, and they become a department that is strong rather than 3 weak departments that are in conflict with each other. Okay, so it's harmonization, and then there's improvements in processes, reduction in management costs, and everything. So there's so many advantages of IMS. The question again, it says, why then are the organizations not doing it? Why? I'm asking, why are the organizations not embarking on this IMS? Tell me, team, of the people that are on the line now, how many do they have IMS implemented in their organizations? Yes, Elroy.
I will say, just to give you from my point of view is not a lot of companies has got IMS as a single type of system in the organization. Most of them run singly, like your QMS will run individually, your safety will be individually, and also your environment. And the reason behind that whole thing is because of the lack of experience of the people in all 3 standards. So, for example, you won't necessarily get an IMS manager. You will get a QMS manager, and then you will get a C manager, and sometimes you will get a SEC manager on a certain company. So it's not yet fully rolled out also, the IMS system, basically.
Okay. Your organization runs separate systems. Is that correct?
That's correct, yes.
Okay. I think, Nkosana, you wanted to share, what your organization has. Safara?
not not exactly. Say it's like I would like
Okay.
for for why organizations aren't using the IMS. I would
Yeah.
say it maybe lack of awareness, like limited knowledge on the IMS. Some organizations are not aware of it, and you can also say it's the complexity of it. Integrated management system has its complexities, so small or medium businesses have a difficulty integrating it in their organization.
So you mentioned complexities. Part of your assessment will be to put one together. Okay, it will be interesting to see, what kind of complexities have you come across. Okay, it's easy, of course, to people to talk about complexity, and then once you get to do it, and then you realize that maybe it was a fear of the unknown. Lwazi, any comments? Yes, sir. Lwazi? Sorry, Lwazi.
Yes. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I think it was me.
Oh,
Safara.
okay.
Can everybody hear me?
I can hear you, please.
I think with my organization, so I'm fairly new, right? I'm doing an internship there. I think their struggle is it's a small team, and there are not a lot of resources to combine, because we are currently integrating the system. And we had a meeting, and we're just realizing that it's a small team and there's a lot to do. There are so many documents to look at, and there are not a lot of people to do this. And also with your work combined, and also trying to integrate the system. So yeah, not a lot of resources. I think that's my reason why
a lot of companies are not integrating their system. There are different standards.
All right, thanks. Lwazi? I thought Lwazi kept on talking, and yet it was Safara. Safara, I thought you were in my class last year. It wasn't you. Okay, somebody else had their hand up before I respond to Safara. Okay, yes, please, Temucho. Temucho.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
So the previous company I used to work at, they tried implementing IMS, but the biggest problem was alignment. So quality would constantly fight with production because production is focused on numbers, but quality is focused on standards. So I think maybe that's the complexities that some of the fellow students were talking about.
Okay, thank you. Temba. Temba, you had your hand up.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
I think the other problem with it is costs. Company prioritize production over quality management systems. And some companies just pick and choose the ones that are relevant to them at the moment or more cost effective for them.
Okay, thanks. So I'm getting cost, I'm getting small organizations, etc. I still feel that this is the fear, of the unknown, or a lot of excuses. And not that it's not true, but for a small organization, I thought it would be easier to implement an IMS because you don't have huge budget. So it's important for you to streamline your processes, to combine a lot of things instead of having 3 different standard leads. Then you have one person who's responsible for IMS, and that person can have a documentation controller, however, who will put procedures and stuff to try and keep those that are common. There's a lot of them that are common. Management review, for example, these are very common. You can combine things like that. Training, you can combine such processes, procedures, and have those under one ownership. So there's a couple of things that it is possible to combine. But the issue is that if these are separate from what the organization wants to achieve, then it will not work. It will not be funded. It will die out. Okay. So, and of course, the implementation process is also something that is challenging. Somebody mentioned that a lack of understanding, a lack of, the organization I work for, they still do not understand what IMS is. They don't believe that having a combined system is stronger than having separate systems. They feel that, for example, quality standard, of course, in this case, it's food safety, the FSSC 22000, that if you interfere with it, then it will be diluted. And so to me, what that means is that there has not been a clear understanding, or someone has not been clear in articulating what are the benefits or the fit for purpose, because organizations, they vary. And the way you configure it, it will vary from another organization, a different industry, a different size, but what's important is that it has to go through the proper process of change management, where people have to be trained and they need to be made aware. They need to be made ready for the change. They need to take ownership, and they need to have a buy-in and contribute to this change and transition. It cannot be done. So there's a, a failure in the proper implementation, where you've either brought in the outsiders to do it for you, and they leave you, and now for you struggle now to maintain it because you did not contribute to the architecture of these new combined standards. Okay, yeah, because at the end of the day, it has to be very well coordinated, that it's fully aligned, it becomes one. Okay, but if it's still detached, from one another, then it doesn't serve no value. And also, there's a lot of things that you need to consider: the maturity of different standards. I mean, if you go to an organization that's got a very low maturity level in quality, etc., then for that organization, for them to be able to implement IMS successfully, they will struggle, because they struggle with the standalone standard. And as you know, the organization have got different maturity levels, where the maturity level, if it's low, it can't work out. If it's high, it's very strong. You can utilize the principles that helped to consolidate that standard for the rollout, to bring in the other standards into one unison. Okay, so there's so many. They vary. People are probably not trained, or the leadership is not willing, and there's a threat to different. A person might think that no, quality people are going to be more stronger. Then let's resist. Safety is now going to be a small partner here, and yet it's not the case. It's once it's consolidated, everyone is equal. It is what the organization wishes to achieve. Okay, so we may come up with all these excuses that lead to it not being easily implemented. It's not necessarily true. It just, there hasn't been proper groundwork to get people to understand its significance and the value to the business. I'm going to stop again just to hear your comments before we carry on. I'm not going to push for too much today. I'm probably going to finish at 8. So I'm just wrapping up. This was a good one to get us started. Any comments before we carry on just towards the end of tonight's lecture?
Yes, sir. With regards to IMS, integrated management system, yes, it's easy to implement the integrated management system in a smaller company as opposed to a larger organization. So previously, I've worked for a company who had the individual standards, and then we implemented the integrated management system. But then it became a problem, and then we just diverted back to having separate standalone standards or certificates. So it becomes a big issue if as the company grows bigger, to sort of keep control over this type of thing.
Yeah, I think so. But I just want to be open-minded, Elroy, and just back my argument with facts. I'm going to note this down and try and see if I can get a nice case study that will, give a nice, a good and a very credible account of an IMS implementation in a smaller organization, which I know I do. I'm gonna just check my reference work and share that with you. But I'm of the opinion that a spaza shop where there's you cannot afford to have different people doing different things, but you've got one person who can do these things jointly. That's a typical smaller organization. I feel that the will and also the practicality and the value, it is there, and also the the reward or the incentives in a smaller organization, they show up front, you know, because you're doing this and you know this is what you're going to gain. They serve as a motivator for this to be implemented. Team, I'm asking again, who has IMS in their organizations? Yes, please, Selani.
Hi, so
Yes,
while
ma'am.
we're going through that, I just realized that I think, yes, in my organization, there is IMS because they appoint like a person that they call JMS. So they call it like joint management system. But the challenge comes where when it comes to the managers, there is different managers per department. So we still have the health and safety manager, but we have the people who works under them as JMS per department. So it's a little bit of challenge because most of the time we struggle when it comes to regarding your documentation, where you find that the health and safety person and the QMS, they're requesting the same document but in a different format and all those kind of things. So it is possible, but it's a little bit challenging to have it in an organization.
Yeah, it's thanks so much for that, you know, comment. But this is counterproductive, you know, because it's actually works. You know, it reverses the winds of what the IMS stands for. It's not meant to create this huge mess of many departments, many documents. You can imagine you get, I guess in that case, you still have the standards being certified independently. You have this weak auditor who comes to DQS or ever come to do an ISO 9001. Next week, you've got someone else coming to audit. The organization is forever involved in audits, and after the audits, having to deal with the response or the CAPA and all of that. It's quite a messy, but I'm not saying that is not what is happening. Well, what we are trying to preach here is to try to make management to tell you, to tell your leadership that there is a way to make things better, and but however, there are a couple of things that you need to do in order for this to work properly. And one of them, it is for people to go through formal training. You need to go through some kind of risk assessment, readiness assessment, change control, PD, CA, plan, do, act, check, act kind of thing. So there's a couple of tools that one can use to ensure that there's been a seamless and less, you know, painful approach to its implementation. Okay, someone had a question. I think I'll move on. I've got a few more minutes to before I wrap up. I just want to quickly touch on this one. It's what we've talked about, the challenges. So somebody did mention that there's, okay, of course, these are human factors, you know, conflicting agendas, lack of motivation, lack of support from senior management, complexity of integration, process, financial cost, economics, etc. So these are things that I have referenced. I've got articles and case studies that have that back it up. Okay, so this is not a thumb suck, and this makes a lot of sense to someone who has worked in this particular area, working with the standards, working with the management systems. They would make sure they would understand that this is true. I mean, for me, I needed not to have researched it. I could have just argued and say that these are the typical challenges. Yes, please, someone is talking. Natty, were you talking? Okay, so let me see. I'd like to end it up here today, and then what we'll do, what I'd like you to do for me, I just want to quickly go to the pre-read for lecture 2. Okay, So for next week, I'd like you to go to our ebook and just chapter 1 is very short. Chapter 1 is talking about, let me just quickly get to it. I will also be uploading it shortly. But before I carry on, any questions on what we've discussed today? It was more an icebreaker, okay, as we enter this journey, okay. So we will unpack it a bit more as we go along. We will interact like this. I'll be getting a lot of information from you. I'll be taking down notes for things to research so that when we meet again, I can share and say that so-and-so said that small organizations would struggle to implement IMS. And then I would say that based on what I've researched, it is not true, or it is true, or it's partly true. I will also, take some information to Dr. Madonsela and share with you as we come back, etc. So today's session really was to get to know each other and also get to understand how I work. And I'll be very, ensure that whatever I asked in your assessment, it's something that I've touched on. If not, it was something that you should have touched in your other modules. So, okay, I may pick up something that's on strategy quality management or another module that you're currently doing to put that together into the assignment. It has to be very practical, guys. This is postgrad, and this is expected that what you learn from here, you do discuss with your managers, and you make sure that they get to see the light. And when they say that, oh, this thing doesn't work, you must be able to say that this has worked. This the evidence or the case studies that show that it does work. Okay. Any questions, please, before I end the session? Any questions?
Hi, sir. With regards to your contact information, are you going to make that available for us?
Everything. It's for you.
Yeah, because there's something that I want to discuss with you after class, if it's possible, for just 5 minutes, sir.
Okay, no, it's fine. I'll remain. Just remember everything is being recorded. So we'll just keep it civil as we talk, knowing that others might catch up. And if not, we'll have to stop the recording. It's up to you. All right, so just before I end the lecture, I just want to show you what I'm going to upload as your e-learning book. I just want to quickly take you to chapter 1. You can see my presentation. Can you see? Am I on share? Okay, yeah.
Yes, you are.
So chapter 1. So it's more about the fundamental definitions of IMS. These are being introduced. And then it's going to talk about the integration, standardization, risks and audits, as we get to chapter 2. It's going to talk about the types of organizations. I want you to start now thinking of an organization that is a single organization, a company that is one, a standalone, versus a company that is big, that has got footprint in different geographical areas or countries, where when you talk about the integration and standardization, the meanings are different. For example, an organization where you are trying to get things to roll out certain procedures throughout the organization, or you're trying to standardize the way you do things. It is different from integrating what happens in the factory that's in Cape Town, that's in Durban, that's in Gauteng, or the company that has got footprint all over the world, where they've got a certain way of doing things, and they want those same practices to be, implemented throughout the world. Okay, and sometimes they would say that adopt according to this, so that when you are in a different country in that same factory, you're talking the same language. The processes are the same. Okay, so when we talk next week and we start on chapter 1, you must draw a distinction between these two different organizations, but I'll also assist you in understanding those. Okay, yeah. All right, team, I'm going to share all of these with you, and if there's anything else, please reach me out. Let me leave you with my contact details. Okay, it's important. Just my number for now, and then you can from here. Please, respect my time as well. So when I'm asleep, and when it's work, it's work time. I'm available after hours. Okay. All right, so if there's anything that you didn't understand in class, you didn't understand in the recorded material, and then you think that you need a clarity or you need a short session with me, I'm available to take your call and discuss those, or even involve Dr. Madonsela if necessary. Yeah, okay, thank you. As I mentioned to you again, this is an area that I'm quite clear on, but I don't know everything, but I'll be able to research and come up to answer your questions should there be non-clarity of certain things. Let me read. There's a question here. ISO 45001 put great emphasis on leadership, risk assessment. 1801, just like when we transitioned from 2008 to 2015. Okay, thank you so much, George. That was very helpful. Okay, I think Leroy, that was your question. Can you see what's been shared on?
Yes, I see there. I see there, sir.
Okay, thank you. What else is here that's been shared? I don't see anything. Any questions, guys, that I might have missed?
Sir?
Yes, please.
Evening, how are you, sir?
I'm well, thank you.
I'm good. I was thinking, Nesse, instead of you giving us your contact details, how about you create a group, and then when you are posting the ebook on Moodle, you also post the group link so that everyone can join instead of us flooding you, your inbox one by one and stuff like that, sir.
Yeah, so thank you. That will help me a lot. But I don't create groups. Your class rep must do that. I suggest, guys, within this week, nominate someone to stand in as a class rep, and this person will be a link between me and you. And of course, if you want to have a one-on-one with me, that is still good. But it worked in the past to have one who represents you. And if you create that group for the class, it's done by that person, if that is okay. And of course, you are right about my contact details. Maybe I shouldn't, it's going to flood my inbox. But anything to make you guys understand and be clear on what we are working on, it is important for me. Any other questions, team? You'll find that as you go on to the other modules within this week, there'll be some kind of commonality and also in how we should be approaching things. By the end of the week, you will know that maybe a class rep, maybe a WhatsApp group, and maybe etc. And then when we regroup on Monday, I'm sure there'll be more clarity on how best to do things. Okay. Any other questions? Otherwise, I'll remain behind with Elroy. Thank you and good night. And we'll catch up on chapter 1 next week. And also, I'll also start sharing the journal articles I'd like you to start going through. Good night.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to stop the recording now.